The CEO fired the single dad for being late, then saw what he was doing after hours. Part 1. The elevator doors slid open on the 32nd floor with a soft chime, and Evelyn Carter stepped out without breaking stride. The hallway outside the executive conference room gleamed with glass and steel, spotless and silent, exactly how she liked it. Order meant control. Control meant success. She checked her watch. 8 a.m. sharp. Inside, the leadership team was already seated. Laptops open. Coffee untouched. Everyone was present. Everyone except one. Evelyn's eyes flicked to the empty chair near the end of the table. "Where's Daniel Harper?" she asked, taking her seat at the head. No one answered immediately. That pause, just half a second too long, irritated her more than an excuse ever could. Finally, Martin from operations cleared his throat. He called in. Said he'd be running late. Evelyn's pen stopped mid-movement. "Late," she repeated. "Yes, ma'am," he said. "I know what he said last time," Evelyn cut in coolly. "And the time before that." A few executives exchanged looks. No one defended him. No one ever did in rooms like this. "Start without him," she said. "And tell him to come straight to my office when he arrives." The meeting continued, but Daniel's absence hovered in the air like a smudge on clean glass. Evelyn listened, asked sharp questions, corrected projections, but her jaw remained tight. Punctuality wasn't a preference to her. It was a rule. She had grown up watching her father lose everything because other people didn't take time seriously. Suppliers late, partners unreliable, promises broken. By the time she took over Carter and Rowe, she had sworn that no weakness, hers or anyone else's, would threaten what she'd built. At 8:23 a.m., her assistant tapped on the door. "He's here. Send him in." Daniel Harper walked in a moment later. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and usually immaculate. Today, his suit jacket was creased, his tie slightly crooked. A faint dampness darkened his hairline, as if he'd rushed out of the rain, or a shower. "I'm sorry," he said before she could speak. "There was an issue this morning." Evelyn gestured toward the chair across from her desk but didn't invite him to sit. "This is the 4th time in 3 weeks," she said evenly. "Do you know how that looks?" Daniel nodded. "Yes. And I take full responsibility. I stayed until 10 every night last week to make up for it." "That's not how schedules work," she replied. "We don't trade mornings for evenings." He hesitated, then said quietly, "I'm doing my best." Something about that phrase, "my best," used to soften people. Evelyn felt nothing. "Your best isn't meeting expectations," she said, sliding a thin folder across the desk. "And expectations don't change based on personal circumstances." Daniel stared at the folder. He didn't open it. His hands rested flat on his thighs, fingers tense but still. "This is a termination," Evelyn continued. "Effective immediately." The room felt colder. Daniel swallowed. "May I ask, is this about my performance?" "No," she answered. "Your work is solid. That's what makes this more disappointing." For a split second, something flickered in his eyes, hurt, maybe. Or disbelief. "I understand," he said finally. "Thank you for the opportunity." No anger. No argument. That unsettled her. HR escorted him out. Evelyn turned back to her screen and forced herself to focus on emails, but the image of Daniel's quiet nod followed her all morning. By evening, the office had thinned out. Lights dimmed. Conversations faded. Evelyn gathered her coat, ready to head home. Another long day, another victory for efficiency. As her driver pulled the car around, she glanced out the window, already mentally organizing tomorrow. Then she saw him. Daniel stood across the street, beside an old sedan with a rusted bumper. He was unloading boxes, carefully, like they mattered. Folding tables. A large cooler. A hand-painted sign leaned against the curb. Evelyn frowned. "Stop," she said. The car slowed. She leaned forward, reading the sign through the glass. "Free homework help and dinner. All kids welcome." Her chest tightened, confused. Daniel set up near a bus stop under a flickering street lamp. He unfolded the tables, taped the sign to one, then knelt to organize notebooks and pencils. His movements were practiced, almost gentle. Kids began to appear. At first just one boy, hovering shyly. Then 2 girls in worn school uniforms. Then more, drawn as if by instinct. They gathered around him, some carrying backpacks, some with nothing at all. Daniel greeted each by name. Hey, Malik, how was the spelling test? Sophia, you finished that reading log. Don't worry, we'll work on it together. Evelyn watched, frozen. He handed out sandwiches from the cooler. Apples. Juice boxes. The children sat on the curb, laughing, eating like this was the best part of their day. Then she noticed the small boy on a nearby bench. He couldn't have been older than 6. Brown hair, scuffed sneakers, coloring quietly while watching Daniel with clear admiration. Evelyn opened the car door before she could talk herself out of it. Daniel. He looked up, startled. Ms. Carter. She stopped, unsure why she'd even gotten out. What are you doing? He followed her gaze to the children and sighed softly. You do this, after work. Every weekday, he said. Sometimes Saturdays. And you were late because of this? She asked. No, he said quickly. I'm late because of him. He nodded toward the boy. That's Ethan, my son. Evelyn's throat went dry. Daycare closes early, Daniel continued. If I miss pickup, they charge fees I can't afford. So I get him, make sure he's settled, then rush in. I figured, if I stayed late, it would balance out. And this? Evelyn gestured around. He smiled faintly. This started when I noticed kids hanging around the bus stop, struggling with homework. One night I helped one. Then another. Word spreads fast when someone listens. Evelyn looked at the children again, fed, focused, safe under a broken streetlight because one exhausted man refused to stop caring. I didn't know, she said. Daniel met her eyes. You didn't ask. The words weren't bitter, just honest. Evelyn stood there as the city hummed around them, realizing for the first time that being on time hadn't made her present, and being late hadn't made him absent. And something inside her began to shift. The CEO fired the single dad for being late, then saw what he was doing after hours. Part 2. Evelyn Carter didn't sleep that night. She lay awake in her penthouse, staring at the ceiling as the city glowed faintly through the windows. Normally, this view calmed her. Tonight, it felt accusatory, like the city itself was asking a question she'd avoided for years. How many things had she missed by demanding perfection? Daniel's words replayed in her mind. You didn't ask. She turned onto her side, but sleep still refused to come. She thought of the kids at the bus stop, sitting on cold concrete, doing homework under a flickering streetlight. She thought of the quiet pride in Daniel's posture, the way he distributed sandwiches like it was the most natural thing in the world. And she thought of how easily she'd ended his job with the slide of a folder. By morning, Evelyn had made a decision. At 7:15 a.m., the executive floor buzzed with surprise. An all-hands email had gone out before sunrise. Subject: Immediate changes, read carefully. The message was brief but unmistakable. Effective immediately, Carter and Row Logistics will be implementing flexible work-hour options for qualifying employees, beginning with single parents and caregivers. Additionally, Daniel Harper has been reinstated to his position, effective today. Whispers followed Evelyn as she stepped out of the elevator. This was not her usual style. No committees, no long rollouts, just action. She called Martin from operations into her office. Cancel my first 2 meetings, she said. I'm going out. Out, he echoed. To where? She grabbed her coat. You'll see. Daniel was back at the bus stop that evening, same as always. He was taping the sign to the table when a familiar black car pulled up and parked. His shoulders tensed. Evelyn stepped out, holding 2 large paper bags. I hope I'm not interrupting, she said. Daniel blinked. Ms. Carter, is everything okay? I should be asking you that, she replied. She lifted the bags. I brought dinner. Real dinner. The kids stared wide-eyed as Evelyn set containers of warm food on the table. Pasta, chicken, fresh fruit. Not charity grade, carefully chosen, balanced, generous. This is for you, she told them, kneeling to their level. And I'm sorry it took me so long to notice you. One of the boys whispered, is she famous? Daniel almost laughed. As the children ate, Evelyn watched Daniel work, how he explained fractions with patience, how he praised effort instead of answers, how he checked on each child like they mattered. She felt something tighten behind her ribs. Why don't you ask for help? She said quietly when he finally had a moment. He shrugged. People are busy. And I didn't want this to become something that could be taken away. Evelyn nodded slowly. She understood control better than anyone. The next week changed everything. Carter and Rowe launched a pilot program. After Hours, a company-sponsored initiative providing tutoring, meals, and safe study spaces in underserved neighborhoods, led by volunteers from within the company. Daniel didn't want the spotlight. But Evelyn insisted. "You're not the face," she told him. "You're the foundation." Employees signed up in record numbers. Some admitted they'd grown up like those kids. Others just wanted to help. Evelyn attended every session. At first, she stood off to the side, observing, calculating. But one evening, a little girl handed her a pencil. "Can you help me with this word?" Evelyn hesitated, then sat down. She hadn't felt useful like that in years. Not everyone was happy. At a board meeting, one investor leaned back, arms crossed. "This is a logistics company, not a charity." Evelyn didn't flinch. "It's a people company. Logistics is just the product. These changes could affect productivity." She slid a report across the table. "Employee retention is up 12%. Absenteeism is down. Morale scores are the highest they've been in a decade." Silence. "Turns out," she added, "when you treat people like humans, they show up." The motion passed. Daniel's life changed too. Flexible hours meant he could walk Ethan to school, eat dinner with him, help him with homework before helping everyone else's kids. One evening, as they packed up the tables, Ethan looked up at his dad. "Are you late anymore?" he asked. Daniel smiled. "Not for the important stuff." Months later, Evelyn stood on a small stage in front of employees, parents, and children. Behind her, a banner read, "Showing up comes in many forms." She found Daniel in the crowd, Ethan perched proudly on his shoulders. "This program," Evelyn said into the microphone, "started because I confused punctuality with commitment." She paused. "I was wrong." Applause rippled through the crowd. Evelyn stepped down and walked straight to Daniel. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for showing up, even when I couldn't see it." Daniel shook his head. "Thank you for finally looking." Evelyn smiled. "And this time, it wasn't practiced, it was real. 9.